Have you ever wondered why some people simply feel nothing when they hear the word football? It's not disinterest. It's not apathy. It's something much deeper. It's a disconnection from the masses, a kind of silent rebellion that the rest can't quite comprehend. While millions scream at a screen, there are minds that stay still, observing from a distance and asking themselves, why is everyone so hypnotized? And that's where the real mystery begins. Because not watching football isn't just a choice, it's a statement. It's an unconscious rejection of something others worship without knowing why. Most call it boredom. But what lies beneath is fascinating. Not feeling drawn to football is, in truth, not feeling drawn to the illusion of belonging. It's saying no to noise, no to the herd, no to that pathological need to dissolve into the crowd. While others wear someone else's jersey and cry over victories that aren't theirs, you prefer to watch how the world dissolves in that meaningless collective euphoria. They look at you as if you're broken, as if something's missing in you. But the truth is the opposite. You're the one who sees clearly what they cannot. That indifference you feel isn't a flaw, it's a symptom. The symptom of a mind that refuses to be domesticated by the popular, of a consciousness that doesn't need a scoreboard to feel emotion. The psychology behind those who can't stand football is brutally revealing. They're individuals who don't need mass distractions to justify their time. They're the ones who understand that the spectacle isn't a refuge, but a prison disguised as a party. When you're not interested in football, what you're really saying is, I don't need to lose myself in something that doesn't belong to me to feel alive. And of course, that confuses people, because we live in a society where collective noise is the preferred anesthetic, where millions line up every weekend in front of a screen to avoid thinking, to avoid facing their emptiness, to avoid hearing what their mind screams when silence appears. You don't fall for that. And that's why you disturb them. Because you represent the awakened consciousness the rest have tried to bury beneath flags, anthems, and goals that mean nothing. Behind the phrase, I don't like football, lies something few can decipher. The inability to deceive oneself. While others need a team to pretend they belong to something greater, you settle for the raw truth. You're alone, but you're free. And that freedom, though it sometimes hurts, is what others fear. Because watching football isn't about watching a sport. It's about surrendering to a collective illusion. It's believing that shouting with others makes you part of something. But what it really does is dissolve you into a mass without identity. Those who don't watch football possess something the crowd despises: emotional independence. They don't need the group's validation. They don't feed on borrowed victories. They're minds that, unknowingly, have overcome one of the greatest mechanisms of modern manipulation: emotional distraction. Because that's what football is for most people: a sedative, a perfectly designed escape to avoid facing reality. While the world burns and their lives quietly fall apart, they're busy watching whether a ball crosses a line or not. Those who don't watch football don't abstain out of elitism or moral superiority. They do it because something inside them can't bear to waste time on the insignificant. Because they feel that every minute given to collective noise is a minute stolen from what truly matters. It's the mind that refuses distraction, the soul that won't sell itself to empty entertainment. And that's dangerous. Because a person who doesn't need distractions is a person who can think. And thinking, in this world, is almost an act of rebellion. Because thinking separates you, makes you strange, turns you into that piece that doesn't fit. They'll call you boring, weird, antisocial. But what they don't understand is that you don't reject football. You reject anesthesia. You're not interested in the game because you already see the real board, emotional manipulation, the constant need for spectacle, the dependence on noise to avoid looking within. There's a fascinating psychology behind this. The psychology of the conscious observer. The kind of person who doesn't need external stimuli to feel part of the world. Who finds more thrill in deep silence than in a crowded stadium. Who prefers to understand the mechanism rather than blindly participate in it. These are minds that live on another frequency, far from the noise, but closer to the truth. Because if you think about it, what does it really mean to enjoy football? It means transferring your emotions to something you can't control. It means feeling like a winner when others win for you, feeling part of something without having done anything. It's a simulation of identity, a borrowed sense of meaning. And those who can't stand it do so because they can't tolerate emotional deceit. They'd rather face their own emptiness than feel someone else's excitement. And that, though it may seem small, is the reflection of an awakened mind. People who don't watch football tend to have a different relationship with time. They see it as something finite, something that shouldn't be gifted to noise. While others lose themselves in 90 minutes of artificial euphoria, they choose to build, to learn, to create, to reflect. And that's why, when they look back at the world, they see it differently. They see the packed stadium as a mirror of collective emptiness. They see the overflowing passion as proof of the fear of being alone. They see the roar as a desperate attempt to drown out silence. Curiously, modern psychology confirms it. People who resist collective phenomena tend to have a stronger identity, more stable self-esteem, and more critical thinking. They don't need external symbols to define themselves. They don't need to win on a scoreboard to feel valuable. They don't need prefabricated emotions to feel alive. And yet, that independence comes at a cost. Because living without distractions leaves you face to face with your truth. No noise, no applause, no crutches. You face the weight of your choices, the rawness of your existence. But it also gives you something others never have. Control. Control over your mind, your attention, your energy. While others are swept away by the tides of mass entertainment, you decide where to look. So, no, you're not strange. You're not broken. You're awake. You've seen behind the curtain and realized the show wasn't for you. And that doesn't make you better. It makes you free. And in a world where everyone competes to waste their time in the loudest way possible, being free is the greatest act of rebellion. Because in the end, this isn't about football. It's about why you need it. And if you don't, it's because you've already taken a step beyond. You've discovered something others still fear to face. That there's no greater power than mastering your own attention. Stay until the end, because I'm going to tell you exactly what goes on inside the mind of those who can't fake passion for something they don't feel. I'm going to reveal why indifference toward football isn't disinterest, but a sign of mental evolution. And once you understand it, you'll never see the crowd the same way again. There's something deeper, something few dare to admit. When someone doesn't watch football, they're not just rejecting a sport. They're questioning the emotional structure of society. Because football, more than a game, is a collective language designed to keep people united around something that doesn't threaten the system. It's the perfect meeting point for those who don't know how to meet themselves. And by staying out, you've broken an invisible code, the code of automatic belonging. You've chosen lucidity over illusion, and that sets you apart. But there's a consequence few talk about. When you withdraw from the noise, you start to hear things others have forgotten. Your real thoughts. The mind that refuses to be absorbed by spectacle becomes sharper, more uncomfortable. You begin to see patterns in human behavior that once went unnoticed. You see how people crave others' emotions because they can't handle their own. How entire identities are built around a jersey, a color, a borrowed victory. You realize football isn't the problem, it's the reflection. It's the mirror in which humanity projects its need to believe in something that gives meaning, even if that meaning is as fragile as a result that changes every week. Those who don't watch football are often labeled as cold, distant, even insensitive. But the truth is the opposite. They feel too much. They feel so much that they can't fake emotion over something that doesn't deserve it. They can't force collective euphoria because they sense the falseness behind it. They see the emotional manipulation, the theatrical suffering, the worship of heroes they don't even know. And above all, they perceive the fragility of a system that needs to repeat the same story again and again to survive. 2 teams, 1 ball, an anesthetized crowd. And here's the unsettling part. The disconnection isn't accidental, it's evolutionary. The brain that refuses to be swept up by mass entertainment has a different pattern. It seeks depth, meaning, coherence. It can't tolerate the trivial, the repetitive, the empty. That's why, while millions chant meaningless mantras, you prefer silence. Not because silence is comfortable, but because in it lies truth. Silence is the territory where thoughts stop being noise and become vision. The most fascinating thing is that this kind of mind doesn't seek to belong. It seeks to understand. And now that we've made it this far, before we continue, I want to present the following to you. Our book, The Formula of Awakening, is now available. Do you feel like there's something inside you that wants to awaken, but you don't know where to start? Then I invite you to transform your way of thinking, and with it, your way of living. Discover who you can become. Start today. The link to get the ebook is in the first pinned comment of this video. Grab your copy now at a great price. With that said, let's continue with the video. It wants to know why the world behaves as it does, why the masses need distraction, why humans are so terrified of not feeling part of something. And that desire to understand is the seed of critical thought. The same thought the masses repress because thinking hurts. Questioning the spectacle means confronting the void behind the curtain, and most people would rather not. They'd rather stay on the surface, where noise hides the lack of purpose. But those who don't watch football, those who don't fall into that net, are the ones who one day decide to open their eyes. And once they do, they can't close them again. They start seeing the pattern everywhere, in media, in trends, in politics. They realize mass entertainment isn't random. It's a mechanism, a factory of distractions feeding the illusion of being alive while stealing real time. It's not just football, it's every way society teaches you to look away. And here's the hardest truth. When you choose not to participate, you become a threat. Society can't stand those who don't need its rituals, because those who don't distract themselves observe, and those who observe too much begin to understand. They start noticing how the same people who celebrate their team's victory cry over their own empty lives the next day. How those who scream in a stadium stay silent before their failures. How the emotional energy they could invest in changing their destiny is instead given to a game designed to change nothing. Football doesn't ask you to think. It asks you to feel, and that's where its power lies. But when someone stops feeling what they're told to feel, they stop being controllable. That's why the mind that resists spectacle becomes dangerous. It's the kind of mind that can look at the world without filters, that doesn't need a hero to justify its lack of direction. That doesn't outsource its emotions to a scoreboard because it knows its life isn't defined by a result. And then something curious happens. When you move away from the noise, you discover a more real kind of emotion, the emotion of presence, the emotion of building something with your own hands, of reading something that shakes you, of understanding an idea so clearly it transforms you. It's another kind of passion, quieter, but infinitely more powerful. It doesn't need an audience or applause. It's the passion of someone who refuses to be bought by noise. Many think not watching football is boring. But what's truly boring is living trapped in an endless cycle of euphoria and disappointment over something that changes nothing in your life. It's giving away your Sundays, your energy, your attention to a story that isn't yours. The one who doesn't watch football doesn't avoid emotion. They choose it. They don't waste it. And that, psychologically, is a form of self-mastery. Because whoever controls their attention controls their life. That's the difference between the spectator and the observer. The spectator dissolves into the spectacle. The observer analyzes it. The spectator needs noise. The observer needs meaning. While one is moved by what others do, the other is moved by what they can create. The one who doesn't watch football isn't indifferent. They're selective. They know time is their most valuable resource, and they defend it as fiercely as others defend their team. And yet, there's something poetic about all this. Because the one who doesn't watch football, unknowingly, embodies a modern form of resistance. The resistance of free thought. In a world that rewards the superficial and punishes introspection, being indifferent to spectacle is almost an act of courage. It's telling the system, you don't own me. It's declaring that your mind isn't for rent, that your attention isn't for sale. That ability to remain unprogrammed is what separates common minds from awakened ones. Because it's not just about ignoring a sport. It's about having the courage to disobey a collective emotion. And that, though it may seem simple, is one of the greatest tests of mental autonomy. When you can look around and refuse to be swept up by what everyone else feels, you enter a territory reserved for few, those who think for themselves. The world wants you predictable. It wants to know where you'll spend your attention, your desire, your time. That's why football is so effective. It's a perfect machine of emotional predictability. But by staying out, you become an anomaly. And the system doesn't know what to do with you. It can't sell you the same illusion. It can't manipulate you with the same stimuli. You become a blind spot on the map of social control. Think about it. When a crowd screams in unison for a goal, what's really happening isn't celebration. It's emotional synchronization. Millions of people feel the same thing, at the same time, from the same stimulus. It's a psychological choreography designed to unify behavior. And when someone doesn't join in, the spell breaks. That's why it unsettles others so much. Because your silence exposes their trance. Your calm is the mirror that reflects their dependence. And that's one of the most uncomfortable truths of our time. There's no greater rebellion than not reacting. Those who don't watch football are the ones who can't fake enthusiasm for noise, the ones who see the manipulation behind every spectacle. They're the ones who understand that society needs distraction to avoid collapse. Because if everyone stopped watching the ball for a moment, if everyone turned off the screen, the silence would be unbearable. That silence would bring questions no one wants to ask. Who am I without my distractions? What am I avoiding thinking about? What have I stopped building while I applaud others? Football, like many other collective rituals, is nothing more than a sophisticated form of emotional anesthesia, a painkiller disguised as tradition. But here's the most disturbing part. Once you deprogram yourself from that anesthesia, you begin to notice other mechanisms you never saw before. you see how the same patterns of manipulation repeat in politics, advertising, and social media. Football is just the training, the introduction to the art of directing the masses' attention toward what doesn't matter, while the truly important things are decided elsewhere. And the one who sees that stops being a spectator and becomes a witness. They no longer participate in the theater. They watch it from outside. And seeing the theater from outside changes everything. The spectator needs a hero. The witness understands heroes are characters created to channel collective frustration. The spectator lives borrowed emotions. The witness feels their own life as an unfolding story. That's why those who don't watch football tend to be more introspective, more analytical, harder to manipulate. They don't seek emotion outside, they find it within. And that makes them something the system fears. Beings impossible to control through entertainment. Here's something few notice. Football isn't consumed out of love for the game. It's consumed out of the need to belong. People don't follow teams, they follow tribes. They want to feel part of something larger than their lives. But when you no longer need that belonging, you're left alone with yourself. And that solitude, which at first feels like punishment, turns into power. Because in solitude, clarity is born. In silence, the things hidden by noise reveal themselves. And when you understand that, there's no going back. You start to see life from a new perspective, almost ruthless but real. From that moment on, everything changes. What once seemed like entertainment becomes distraction. What once seemed like unity becomes dependence. What once seemed like passion reveals itself as a form of escape. You begin to understand that time isn't something to spend. It's something to invest. And most invested in feeding other people's illusions. You instead invested in building yourself, learning, creating, thinking. And that generates something no crowd can give you: purpose. Because in the end, the psychology of those who don't watch football isn't about disinterest, it's about purpose. These are people who've stopped living reactively. They don't need the world to tell them when to feel. They choose when to feel. They've taken control of their emotional system. And that, in a world driven by reactions, is a superpower. While others chase stimulation, they pursue direction. While others wait for the next match, they plan their next personal victory. And no, they're not insensitive. They're too sensitive to fake emotion where there is none. They've understood that noise doesn't heal emptiness, it only covers it. That distraction doesn't liberate, it numbs. And that true euphoria doesn't come from watching others win, but from advancing on your own. That's why their energy doesn't dissolve in stadium screams. It concentrates in the silence of creation. There's something almost philosophical in that stance. The decision not to participate in what doesn't elevate you. It's a form of self-respect, a declaration of emotional independence. It's looking at the world and saying, I don't need that to feel alive. And that phrase, simple as it sounds, contains the essence of freedom. Because the day you no longer need entertainment to endure your life, that's the day you wake up. And then, the noise becomes clear. You see manipulation disguised as passion, emptiness dressed as euphoria, conformity wearing the mask of tradition. You see it all, and you can't unsee it. And yes, sometimes you'll feel alone, because free thought isolates. But that isolation isn't punishment, it's a filter. It's what separates those who sleep from those who decide to wake up. Now tell me, isn't it ironic that the same people who can't understand how you can live without football are the ones who can't spend an afternoon alone with their mind? They need noise to avoid hearing themselves. You, on the other hand, use silence to understand yourself. And that's what makes all the difference.